Good afternoon, everybody. This is a very complex, multi-layered issue and incident that we're dealing with. I'll give you some preliminary information. First, I want to thank the community over here in this Tireman, Brace, Artesian area because it is very complex, and we appreciate their patience. Some that are staying in their homes, and some that are just staying away from this area altogether. Today at 10:30 a.m., 7700 block of Artesian, we responded to a call of a domestic violence situation. The way that we got the call was that there was a domestic violence fight that ultimately elevated to a shooting where a female in the home shot her boyfriend, who was held up in a bathroom for his protection. Upon arrival, the officers made contact at the home. They discovered that there were two children inside, a 15-year-old and a 2-year-old, and that there was in fact an injured male in the bathroom, and the mother, who suffers from mental illness, armed with a weapon and armed with a gun and a knife. The officers did a really good job of talking to the occupants of the home, ultimately getting the 15-year-old to the second floor of the home, and he was hanging out of the window communicating with our officers. At some point, the officers on the scene had the wherewithal to see if there were any other weapons in the home and to get the 15-year-old to toss the weapons out of the home. The 15-year-old was successful in tossing one gun out of the home, which the officers recovered, but the situation became a little bit more volatile. They heard a gunshot. They had to retreat. We called in our special response team, as well as our CIT, which is our crisis intervention trained negotiators who were trained in mental health services as well. They recovered that one weapon, later found out that there's multiple weapons in the home. They were able to negotiate and get the victim, who was shot. We determined that he was in fact stabbed, not shot, that the bullet missed him. He was stabbed several times in his arm and his wrist. We were also informed at that time that there are several other weapons in the home. We were able to get the 15-year-old out of the house, and that's the 15-year-old who was throwing the gun out of the window. And we were able to get the 2-year-old. So we've got the victim who was stabbed, not shot, but reported as shot, out and secured, being medically treated. We have the 15-year-old boy out of the home. He is safe. And we have the 2-year-old out of the home. She is safe. Family members are on the scene. They informed us that there are an additional 5 other children involved, but we're confident that those additional children are not inside the home. They also informed us that she is bipolar and is off her medications, refusing to take them. In addition to that, that she has several other weapons in the home and that she is threatening suicide. And at this point, we're going to wait her out and try to negotiate her out of the home with our crisis intervention trained officers who are on the scene. And that's where we're at right now. Again, very complex, multi-layered, and I'll take any questions.
To confirm, so there's only one person, that woman who's suffering from mental illness, inside the home right now, just her?
That's our understanding. We're debriefing the 3 people we got out of the house. One of them has some additional medical issues, so we're getting through that, but asking them, how many other people are inside the house. So we're confident that it was just those 3 plus her.
And there are weapons currently inside the house still?
The last information I received, that there's at least 5 other guns in the home and at least several knives.
And are those children, or the 15 and the 2-year-old, are those her children?
They are her children.
You go.
We've been responding to a mental health situation. We just had the Porter Burks. What are your officers thinking? How do you train them in the situation, especially coming off of the heels of a tragedy that got a lot of scrutiny?
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, mental health needs to do more. The police, it's our responsibility now to provide mental health services, it appears. We're hoping that we get this right, but we're going to do our job to the best of our ability. The officers have training, but they're not mental health professionals. Patience is on our side. We're going to wait her out. Hopefully she doesn't harm herself. We're going to do everything in our power with our training to talk her away from that. But we got those 3 people out of the home, particularly those 2 children who, certainly are vulnerable as children, and our victim, who was stabbed, not shot, being treated. So those are all good things. Now we got to get her out safely, and we're hopeful that we're going to do that. We've got our special response team here, and we made the decision not to breach at this point. We don't want her to hurt herself, and we certainly don't want her to use any of those weapons against officers where they have to return fire. So we're going to keep the neighbors away and we're going to be patient, and we're going to try to talk her out. As I indicated, we've got family members on the scene, and hopefully hearing that comforting voice of a family member will change her mind and get her out of there and get her the medical and mental help that she needs.
Last night you just came off another barricade situation. I mean, how often are you guys dealing with something like that?
Last night we had one that went 11 hours, and again, I commend the officers on their patience. We want these things to end peacefully. That's always our goal. That's what we train to, and certainly patience is on our side. You want to de-escalate as much as possible. You want to make sure that the people who are in crisis know that ultimately we want to get them help. And that's what we train to. And the unfortunate reality is that these numbers continue to go up with mental health crises in our city and around this country. But we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that this one ends peacefully. But again, last night, we just cleared one this morning. Domestic, mental, same situation. Thank God that one ended peacefully, and we're hopeful that this one will too.
And you may have said this at the beginning, did you have an age of the woman, and does she live in this home?
She's in her 30s, and I don't know her living arrangement. I don't know if she lives here or visits here, lives with him or not. All right, thank you.